Tatiana Jefferson heard before she died. So put your hands up. Show me your hands in three. About a second. And you're going to hear that after those things were yelled at her, the bullet went through her back bedroom window, into her chest, through her heart. She fell down, face down. And you guys are going to have an opportunity to see and hear exactly what happened next. She says, oh my God. And then the next thing that you're going to hear that Tatiana heard, the last noises she ever heard, were her 8-year-old nephew, Zion, his cries. Because when Tatiana Jefferson, just 28 years old, died in her bedroom, face down, she was not alone. Her 8-year-old nephew, Zion, was there to watch. Now, this is not a case that deals with rival gang members shooting each other. This is not a case about a drug deal gone bad or a robbery. This is a case about a Fort Worth police officer, a stranger to Tatiana, who shot through the back of her bedroom window in the middle of the night when she was in her home and should have been safe. You are going to hear that this is an absolute intentional act, an unjustifiable act that never should have happened. You're going to hear throughout the course of this trial from multiple witnesses that are going to talk to you about what happened in this case. They're going to hear and talk to you about what happened and how we got to Tatiana taking her last few breaths in her home. So how did we get here? What happened? So we go back. October 11th. Tatiana was killed, murdered by this defendant on October 12th of 2019. Around 2:33 in the morning. So we back up to October the 11th. So October the 11th started for Tatiana and Zion very similar than a lot of other days. So you guys are going to learn a little bit about who the Tatiana was. The Tatiana was 28 years old. She had 3 siblings. They're right over there. Amber, Ashley, and a Darius. They call themselves the A-Team. Tatiana's mom, Yolanda Carr, she lived in the house with Tatiana off 1203 East Allen, the east side of the world. And Zion lived there too. So Tatiana, raised in Dallas, went off to school at Xavier University, graduated her biology degree. After that, you're going to hear how she came home. And in 2019, she had moved in with her mom, Yolanda Carr, off East Allen, to take care of her mom's failing health. She was also there to help take care of Zion, help raise him, because at that time, Amber was having some severe health issues with her heart. And so Tatiana was living there at that house, helping raise Zion, teaching him the responsibilities, day-to-day, chores. And you guys are going to hear on October the 11th, just a regular day, that Tatiana had taken Zion outside. He's 8 years old at this time. And let me tell you, Zion's very rambunctious and energetic, as many 8-year-olds are, right? And you're going to hear from witnesses that will describe neighbors across the street that saw Tatiana and Zion outside, her trying to teach him how to mow the lawn. So this neighbor sees Zion running across the lawn, pushing a lawnmower, trying to learn how to veg. After that, on October the 11th, they went inside and they had dinner that night. They burned the hamburgers they were making in the kitchen. So there was smoke. So both the front and the side door of this house, they opened to let that smoke go out. Both of these doors also had storm doors. Kind of like those storm doors that they'll have, it's either screen or glass. That was kept shut, but the main door, the front and the side, were open to let that smoke go out. So at this time, Yolanda had been in and out of the hospital, and on October 11th, going into the 12th, she was in the hospital. And unfortunately, Yolanda has since passed away. So in that house that night, there was a Tatiana and her nephew. So once they go to bed, they go into a Tatiana's bedroom, and you're going to get to hear about Tatiana and what she liked to do. She was studying, wanted to be a doctor. She was working, taking care of Zion, her mother, her family. She also loved to play video games. Loved to game. She would get on the computer, play video games with Zion. That's what she loved to do. In fact, her siblings would poke fun at her for playing video games all the time. Just what she liked to do. So that night, Zion goes to bed. Tatiana's in her back bedroom. They're in their pajamas, barefoot, comfortable. They're supposed to be safe. But you're going to learn that at 10 o'clock in the morning or so, Zion, who's asleep in her bed, he wakes up at some point throughout the night, and he sees his Aunt Tay, which is what he calls her, is still playing video games, and she's up. So 8-year-old says, I want to play too. So he gets up and he starts playing video games with her. So they're laughing, having a good time. Tatiana and Zion had no idea what was coming. They had no idea that across the street, James Smith, a neighbor, had called the non-emergency number for Fort Worth because he noticed those two doors were open. That front door and that side door were wide open. Lights are all on in the house. Both cars are in the garage or in the driveway. But that's unusual for those doors to just be wide open. It's a dark, really cold night. And so when the call comes through, he calls the non-emergency number, gives them the information, tells them, when asked if the neighbors are home, he tells them, well, both cars are in the driveway, and he describes them. He says that his doors have been open for several hours. I just want to make sure everything's okay. So when this defendant and his partner, Darch, her name is Carol Darch, and you're going to hear from her. Carol Darch and this defendant go in their patrol cars, 2 separate patrol cars, show up around the East Allen area. They actually parked right next to a house that they believed to be 1203. They went to the wrong house first. There was a house just down the street, kind of diagonal from where Tatiana lives. And you guys are going to have an opportunity to see maps, photographs, and hear testimony from these witnesses, so you better orient yourself as to what we're talking about. So they park next to this house on the side, and then no lights, no sirens. They then go across the street, and unbeknownst to them, James Smith, that neighbor who had called, and his family were all sitting outside on the stoop, making sure everything was okay. Because they knew this house has a woman by herself and a young child. And the one thing you're going to learn about James Smith is he and his family own multiple houses on this street of East Allen. And East Allen's a little bit of a niche inside of the east side. East Allen, the 1200 block where Tatiana and her family lived, across the street there are multiple houses, and those all belong to James Smith and his family. Right next door to Tatiana is a old church or mosque. Okay? There's no other houses right next to her. To her left, if you're looking at the house to the right, if you're coming outside the house to the left, you guys are going to see a very big lot, an open lot. Okay? So James Smith is the kind of neighbor